Hello students, this is Mrs. Miller, and the purpose of this video is to introduce you to our unit for this week. We're going to be focusing on character and point of view. Now our first part of the workshop here is going to be on point of view. So you can go ahead and click on the online textbook, or you can use a paper copy, the hardback copy that's in our classroom. I'm going to go to Unit 2, Analyzing Character and Point of View. And I'm going to go to this pull down menu and select Text Analysis Workshop Character and Point of View, and I'm going to click Go. And this brings up the page just like you would see in our textbook that we have in the classroom. Our focus is right here. We're going to be able to analyze how particular elements of a story interact and analyze how an author develops the points of view in a text. Now remember, when we did our story analysis before, we were analyzing the plot, so we're breaking down the story into the parts of plot. Now we're going to be able to break down a story and examine how the story fits together and how an author develops points of view. Let's start here. Character and point of view. Bossy and loud, sensitive and shy, athletic and adventurous. What qualities make you admire one person and dislike another? When you meet characters in literature, you are likely to form strong impressions, just as you do with people in real life. By looking closely at character and point of view, you can understand your reactions to the people you meet. Part 1. Imagine watching 3 videotapes of a soccer game. One was taken from the sidelines. You can see all the players in action. The second was taped by someone running alongside one player. The third was taken by a player. You can see the game through her eyes. In literature, the narrator holds the camera, that is, tells the story. A writer's choice of narrator is referred to as point of view. I would like to just highlight these words quickly because these are some important words that we need to know. The narrator holds the story, that is, the narrator is the person who tells the story. A writer's choice of narrator is referred to as point of view, so I would like to highlight that as well. A writer's choice of narrator is referred to as point of view. So in a bit, when you complete your notes-taking page, you're going to need to know that information. Okay, let's move on. Just how much can point of view affect a story? Find out by contrasting these examples from comical retellings of the Cinderella tale. First, let's look at first-person point of view. In first-person point of view, the narrator is a character in the story. So you can see right here that the narrator is right there in the story. The narrator uses the pronouns I and me to refer to him or herself. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to highlight these important pronouns that we need to know for first person. It uses I and me to refer to him or herself. Describes his or her own thoughts, feelings, and impressions. Does not know what other characters are thinking and feeling. Let's take a look at this example from Cinderella. Cinderella was the last girl in the world I would want to marry. I mean, who wears glass slippers to a ball? I only picked up that lost slipper because it was a safety hazard, and it seemed like a pretty princely thing to do. Well, this is just a little comical retelling of part of the Cinderella story, and we can see here that one of the characters is referring to himself as I, and we see this pronoun used again right there and right here. And you might be wondering, but you might say, I see the word Cinderella. And that's true. You do see the name Cinderella right there. But that means that there are 2 characters that are being discussed here, the Cinderella and the person referring to him or herself as I. Now you should have been able to tell that the speaker here, or the narrator, is who? Very good. It's the prince. It's the prince who's the one who's telling the story here. Let's look at another example. With third-person point of view, the narrator is not a character in the story. The narrator is called limited if he or she tells the thoughts and feelings of only one character, but is called omniscient or all-knowing if he or she reveals the thoughts and feelings of all of the characters. So I'm going to highlight those important words. We have, if it's third person, it can be limited. If he or she tells the thoughts and feelings of only one character, or it can be referred to as omniscient. It can be an omniscient third-person narrator or all-knowing, and that means that the narrator knows the thoughts and feelings of all of the characters. Let's look at a couple of examples. Cinderella ran down the steps, losing a slipper along the way. The prince thought to himself, "She's going to break an ankle." Okay, let's examine this. Let's take a look at this. We know the thoughts of one of the characters. It was the prince. Let me try that again. Sorry about that. We're able to see the thoughts of only the prince here. It says, the prince thought. We have no idea what Cinderella is thinking. We know what she's doing because the narrator is an outside narrator looking in, like we can see right over here. We can see that right here, the narrator's outside looking in, but we only know the thoughts of the prince. Let's take a look at an omniscient example. Cinderella hated to lose her slipper, but knew she was running out of time. Watching her, the prince shook his head and thought, "There's an accident waiting to happen." So in this omniscient viewpoint, we can see that the narrator is telling us what Cinderella's thinking. It's telling us what Cinderella hates right here, and it's telling us what she's thinking. She knew she was running out of time. Okay, but then the author goes on, or the narrator goes on and tells us what the prince is thinking. The prince thinks that's an accident waiting to happen. Okay, so that's the difference between a limited point of view and an omniscient point of view. We're going to pause here, and I would like for you to complete the note-taking page that goes along with this page. Now, if you don't know where your page is, the paper that you were given in reading class, you can click on Student Resources, and you can click on Student Worksheets. It's Note-Taking Part 1, and it's going to open up in a PDF file, and you can just print this off and fill it in. So go ahead and fill this in, and then we'll go over the answers together in another video.